Yu-Gi-Oh! Is a game with over 100 cards, and 99% of those cards are bad. However, these bad cards have helped me create some of the most insane decks Edison format has ever seen. I've made OTKs, deckouts, infinite loops, FTKs, hand loops, and this normal monster control thing. And in this series, I'm going to push these concepts to their limit. This is Cursed Tech Revisited. Hello and welcome to the second episode of Cursed Tech Revisited. And in this one, we are going all the way back to the beginning of my channel and looking at the first deck that I ever loved. Maybe I shouldn't say it like that. The first deck that I ever played with? Okay. We're looking at Berserk Dragon. And not only is this episode about Berserk Dragon, but it is extra special because in this episode, we are facing off against Carpath and Zalos. Two of my just favorite YouTubers ever. Obviously, Carpath, if you're watching me, you know who he is. He's the jank duelist extraordinaire who turns jank into decks that win tournaments. And Zalos is one of the coolest guys ever. He also is incredible at Yu-Gi-Oh! He's topped various events. He also brought the insect deck to popularity, and as someone that, when I witnessed his deck profile for that event, my mouth was on the floor. It's like so funny. Also part of the Who Needs Meta channel, incredible channel. Go subscribe to them right now. Thankfully, I am facing off against both of them today in this video, so stick around and let's talk a little bit about Berserk Dragon. Now, Berserk Dragon is kind of like Ultimate Conductor Tyranno, but released in 2004. This card has 3,500 attack, which is just insane for the time period. It also can attack all monsters your opponent controls once each, and to top it all off, you can summon it out of the deck. And the way you do that is with the spell card, the quick play spell card, A Deal with Dark Ruler. All that you need to summon the Berserk Dragon is a level 8 monster under your control has to be sent to the graveyard. I took Berserk Dragon to a locals last Thursday. It was at the Zombie Games Cafe in London. Everyone there was so nice. It is such a cool place. If you are in London, please check it out. And it was just a small tournament. It was an 8-man. I went, there was only 3 rounds actually. I went 2-1, but the deck felt really fun and powerful, and so I thought it deserved a new episode of Cursed Tech on it. So let's talk about the changes I've made from the previous version. The previous version, it had the Gear Dragons. It was definitely a more aggressive deck, and in this version, I've gone with more of a control style. That being said, you run a lot of bricks. The deck's main problem is bricking because Berserk Dragon is, let's just say, he's a little bit clingy and he gets attached to you and he will show up in every single one of your opening hands. That's just what's going to happen. That's part of playing the deck. The main innovation that I've been trying out in this new version of Berserk Dragon is a little quick play spell card called Enemy Controller. This card is just insane. In modern format, people were playing it. It's one of those cards that gives the player so many more options than Yu-Gi-Oh! Normally has. I mean, normally you're summoning a monster. Do you have a trap? You can activate the trap. But quick play spell cards like Enemy Controller, they just let you dodge stuff. They let you alternate the game state to be really unique and fun. And so as a player, it's a very fun card to play with. And in Berserk Dragon, it's absolutely insane. The whole idea is you need cards to be able to dodge removal that stops your level 8s from going to the graveyard. If you would normal summon a Beast King Barbaros, you can, and they bottomless, you can chain the enemy controller. If they deep prison, you can chain the enemy controller. It's just such an interesting defensive card to both enable your level 8s to go to the graveyard and to get in a big OTK. Also, very importantly, this card is great to change a Raiko or a low attack monster to attack position, and then a 3,500 attack Berserk Dragon could just run right into it for game. I think that this list, it performed extremely well at the tournament at the Zombie Cafe and Games, and I'm really hoping it will do good today. Although that being said, we are facing off against some of the best Edison players in the entirety of the format, so let's get into the game. Alright, this first match we are up against the one and only Carpath. And are you kidding me? Both Berserk Dragons? Are you kidding me? This is my moment of truth. And then you both decide to just show up and ruin my day. Okay, it's fine. Maybe we can get back into this. He used charge. He is setting a monster, set a back row, and then he will pass his turn. And we draw a Gores. That's fine. We're just going to pass our turn and just maybe try to get some value out of this Gores. He's going to normal summon a Rescue Cat, get an Airbellum and a Moja out of the deck. I love this card. Happy to see that guy show up. And surely he'll hit the Dandelion or either one of these Berserk Dragons. And no, he just happened to hit the skill drain. And then he's going to flip this Hamster. Then he's going to make a Stardust, set a back row, and pass his turn. And then we draw an Amaryllis. And so that's game number one. Okay, no problem. Let's go on to game number two. Our opening hand looks much less okay. Just opening a hand. So that's two opening hands, 3 Berserk Dragons. Can we get... Okay, we didn't get the 4th Berserk Dragon, but still not looking too good. We're just going to set a monster, set a back row, and pass our turn. I really should have set this Sangan. I know he's playing Rykos. I don't know what I'm thinking. And we draw yet another level 8. He is going to take our Sangan out of our hand. And now our deck is looking extremely bad. We're going to set this card because maybe he'll flip the Ryko and target our back row instead of our monster. And then maybe we can search the Lone Fire and do anything at all. But he just passes his turn. We draw a Tragodia, which is not very good. He's going to flip the Ryko and target our Violet Witch. That is very bad for us. He's then going to normal summon a Rat, and then he will attack us for some damage. Then we're going to summon this Tragodia, and then he's going to set another back row and pass his turn. And we draw Titanial. I cannot believe this is going so poorly. Okay, we just attack the Ryko, get in some damage. He's going to summon a Moja. This brings back the King of the Beasts. He's going to attack into our Tragodia. We take 100 damage. And then after that attack, we can use a Deal with Dark Ruler to summon out the Berserk Dragon from the deck. At least he made an appearance. And then Carpath will pass their turn. We're going to draw a Mystic Tomato. This will be pretty good into this Giant Rat. Just kidding. He has Mirror Force. And now I am dead. That is the end of match number 1. Review, post-game, interview, review. Maybe the worst match of my life. I will wholeheartedly say that because I have never bricked that bad. I've played this deck so many times. And maybe I will bite my words for saying that, because let's get on to match number 2. Alright, now it is time for match number 2, also against Carpath, and at least we did not draw a Berserk Dragon in our opening hand. He's going to set a monster, set a back row, and pass his turn. And we draw a Mystic Tomato. We're going to normal summon this Sangan, go into the battle phase. We will take 800 damage, and he will summon out a monster from his deck, and he's going to set a Ryko. We're then going to set 2 back row and pass our turn. He's going to normal summon a Card Trooper. This will mill 3 cards, and that is fine with us. He's going to attack into our Sangan. We think about activating Skill Drain, but we decide that we want to get this Lone Fire off of this Sangan. So we will do that. We add the Lone Fire to our hand, and then he's going to set a back row and pass his turn. We draw Old Faithful, the Berserk Dragon. We're going to use Trade-In, discarding that Berserk Dragon, and we draw 2 more cards, Gore's Trag. Honestly, these 2 cards were like extremely bad in these matches. I don't know. I feel like every time they just stopped me from... Maybe they... Like, honestly, I've got to take out Gore's for traps, because, like, they just made it so I was so far behind against established back row, and I'm just sitting and waiting. So we're just going to normal summon this Beast King Barbaros, go into the battle phase, and on attack declaration, we can activate this Skill Drain. This will clear the Ryko, and our Beast King Barbaros will become 3,000 attack.
He's then going to activate Card Trooper, milling 3 cards, switch the Card Trooper to defense, and then pass his turn, and we draw a Dandelion. We're going to normal summon this Mystic Tomato. We're going to get Mirror Force for 2, and we're then going to activate Call of the Haunted on the Beast King Barbaros, go into the battle phase, and then attack over this hamster. Then he's going to activate Card Trooper, he mills 3 more, then he's going to activate Pot of Avarice. He draws 2 more cards, sets a monster, sets a back row, and passes, and we draw a Deal with Dark Ruler. We're then going to use Lone Fire Blossom with priority because we have this skill drain up, and that will be fine, and we can summon out this Titanial, and it will get Bottomless. That is extremely bad for us because we have this Deal with Dark Ruler, so we just have to attack into this Raikou, but then he has the MST for the skill drain, and now things are looking extremely bad. He's going to mill 3 cards again. I think he's milled like 12 or just some absurd number of cards with this Card Trooper. He's going to normal summon a giant rat and attack us for quite a bit of damage, but then we are going to summon this Gores. There's an argument to summon the Tragodia. I don't know. We're going to switch this Gores to attack and then clear this Card Trooper. He will take some damage. We're going to set this Phoenix Wing Wind Blast and pass our turn. He's going to switch the Giant Rat to defense, set another monster. We draw a Titanial, which is not good, but we can't play into his back row, so we pass. And then he's going to use Summoner Monk. That is fine. He's going to discard a Book of Moon to summon out the cat, but that is fine with me. He then uses cat to get Airbellum and Moja. He's then going to Synchro Summon into a Colossal Fighter, which is quite good for us because we have the Phoenix Wing Wind Blast, so we will be able to stop that Colossal Fighter. We also get 2 tokens with this Dandelion, which is not too bad. We draw a Violet Witch for turn, which is not very good. We're going to think for a little bit, and then we are going to Tribute Summon a Titanial, go into the battle phase, and clear this Giant Rat. It will summon out a Moja, and then we can attack into his other Giant Rat, which will summon out a Hamster. We're then going to set a back row and pass our turn. He summons another Colossal Fighter. It will clear Titanial, also clear the Gores, and then we can summon this Berserk Dragon to stop that final damage, but he's just going to set the Raikou, and this enemy controller is very bad. We're just going to normal summon a Violet Witch, attack over this Colossal Fighter for a tiny bit of damage, and then he is going to pop our Berserk Dragon with his Raikou. We're then going to set a Econ and pass our turn. Then he's going to switch this Colossal Fighter to attack, and we are able to search our deck for an Amaryllis. Okay, and here is my biggest misplay of the 2 matches. I am so mad at myself. I don't know what I was thinking, but honestly, I was very nervous. I'm nervous facing off against Carpath, and the easy, just simple solution is just summon Tragodia and search Amaryllis off of Violet Witch, and then I can use Tragodia's effect to steal the Colossal Fighter because it is a level 8. But I thought of this immediately after I searched the tomato, and I was too embarrassed to ask to go back, and so now we just have a tomato, and that is not very good for us. We also just didn't even summon the Tragodia, and then just to put the cherry on top, we draw the trade-in. So right now, I'm just so embarrassed. I set this tomato and pass the turn. He's going to flip this hamster. This will summon out a Moja. Just kidding, he has no targets. He has 3 cards left in his deck. That is so funny. Maybe we can deck him out. He attacks into the tomato, and then he's going to set 1 back row and pass his turn, and we draw an enemy controller. We're going to set that enemy controller and pass. He has 2 cards left in deck. He's going to summon this Beast Striker, switch to this hamster to defense. This will attack over our Mystic Tomato, and we can use that Mystic Tomato's effect to summon out a Plague Spreader. He's then going to attack into the Plague Spreader, and we can use Econ to tribute to steal, but we probably should have just changed it to defense, but that is okay. We draw a Heavy Storm, and we are effectively dead, and that is the end of game number 1 of match 2. Now it is time for game number 2, and there he is, the Berserk Dragon yet again. A lot of Trap Dust shoots in these matches, and there is the Tragodia again. And we are going to put back this Raikou, and you can see he had all of these cards, which are pretty good. A lot of just trading Gores and Trag, and his deck grinds better than mine. I think I probably should have sided differently, but, you know, that's just how it goes sometimes. He's going to set a back row and pass his turn, and then he's going to Trap Dust shoot us, and he takes the Deity Crow because he has the Pot of Avarice, and he can see our hand is not very good. I think this version of the deck is much better into, like, just anything you can crash the tomatoes into. But when you're not crashing the tomatoes are just getting popped, and they look so horribly bad. It's like I felt like I was 2 steps behind every single time I made a play because I never got any value out of anything. So yeah, things were just very bad in this matchup, but what can I say? You can run into this matchup, I guess. We draw for turn, and it is a Beast King Barbaro, so just a ton of normal summons. I definitely need to put more traps in this deck. We're going to set a Dandelion and pass our turn. We draw an enemy controller, we flip up the Dandy, and we can clear the Raikou. It will pop our Dandy, and then we get 2 tokens. We're then going to set another Tomato and then pass our turn. He's going to use Mind Control on the Tomato. So just, yeah, again, never getting any value with these tomatoes. He clears one of our tokens, and then he's going to make an Ancient Fairy in defense and then pass his turn. We draw for turn. It is the 3rd Beast King Barbaros, which is hilarious. We just pass again. He's going to use Gold Sark for the cat. I mean, these games are just going on so long. I'm supposed to have like an aggressive OTK deck, but it is just not looking very good. We draw the DD Crow again, which is quite nice because we can stop the Avarice. We're going to attack into this Ancient Fairy. We will take 200, and then we can summon out this Tragodia. Unfortunately, we do not have a deal with Dark Ruler, but if we did, we could probably get in a ton of damage, but we do not. So he's going to activate Pot of Avarice. We can activate DD Crow, banishing this Air Bellum, and then he's going to set a monster and pass his turn. We draw a Lone Fire. We're going to use that Lone Fire in order to get out a Titanial, go into the battle phase. We can attack into the Hamster, and then he will get out a monster from the deck, and he decides to get out a Moja, which is very interesting. And so I'm thinking for a little bit, but I'll just attack the Moja. This will get him a Hamster back to his hand, and then we set this enemy controller and pass our turn. Oh my god, these games are so long. I'm so sorry. He's going to get that Rescue Cat to his hand. He's going to set 3 cards and pass his turn, and we draw a Gorz. He's going to use Cat and then chain Torrential to the Cat, which is very good and plays around all of our interactions. So all of the monsters will go to the graveyard, and then he can get out an Air Bellum and a Raikou. He's then going to go into the battle phase, and we decide to use this enemy controller. There's an argument to just like getting a card discarded because the enemy controller could set us up for the future, but we decide to not worry about it, and we draw a Phoenix Wing Windblast. We're going to pass our turn. Hopefully we can get some value out of this Gorz. We draw a Titanial, which is awful. Just so many awful top decks time after time. He's going to attack for 22. We're going to summon Gorz. We get a token, and then he's going to bounce the Gorz to our hand. That is fine. And then we draw, I believe, a Skill Drain. Yeah, there's the Skill Drain. We're going to set that in the Phoenix Wing. It switches to attack and then pass our turn after summoning this Barbaros. And then he is going to go to the battle phase and attack into the Barbaros. And then we will chain the Skill Drain, and then he will chain the Solemn Judgment. We cannot respond to this because it is a counter trap, and so we are going to get owned in that exchange. And he's going to set a couple back row and pass his turn. We draw an Allure of Darkness. We can use that Allure of Darkness, draw 2 new cards, banish the Tomato, use Trade-in, discarding this Titanial. We draw a Plague Spreader and an Amaryllis, and our hand looks very bad again. We're then going to normal summon this Barbaros, use this Phoenix Wing to return that to the extra deck, go into the battle phase, and attack him for 1922. He will use Call of the Haunted on his Ancient Fairy Dragon, which means my attack order was absolute trash, and I really should not have attacked with Beast King Barbaros first, but that's fine. I was very nervous. He's then going to summon out this Tragodia. If I had attacked with this card first, I could have attacked over this Tragodia, and this would not have happened, but that's okay because he can discard this Gorz to steal our token, switch his monster to attack, and then I also forgot Amaryllis in the graveyard. I am just making misplays left and right. I'm so nervous. This is such a bad match. I should not be uploading this video, but here I am. He's going to attack me for 1800. We're going to summon the Gorz again, and he's going to set another back row and pass his turn. Then we draw a Deal with Dark Ruler. We're going to switch this Gorz to attack. Just kidding. We're going to switch the token, clear the Tragodia. We're going to set Plague, set a back row, and pass our turn, go to the end phase, and then we remember to summon back the Amaryllis, but he does have the Bottomless, which is very bad for us. And then he's going to activate Heavy Storm. It didn't really matter, I guess. And then he's going to activate Compulse on our Plague Spreader. And then he is just going to normal summon a Grand Mole. That'll return the Gorz to our hand. And then he's going to attack over this monster. Oh my god, these games are so long. We draw a Torrential, which is not too bad. We're going to set that and the Plague and pass our turn. Then he's going to normal summon the Grand Mole, and we can get a pretty high value Torrential, so very happy to see that in the end. He's going to set a back row and pass his turn, and we draw a Dark Armed Dragon, which is absolutely insane because we can use his Plague Spreader, returning that Berserk Dragon. We have 3 Darks in the graveyard, so we can summon out this dad and attack for game, and it was a Mirror Force, so I don't know how I won that game, but let's just say the deck looked terrible, and yeah, let's go on to game number 3 and match number 2. This might be the longest video I've ever put on the channel, but that's okay. There he is again, Berserk Dragon. He sets 2 cards and passes his turn, and we're going to summon this Lone Fire, get out another Lone Fire, and then we're going to get out the Titanial from the deck, go into the battle phase, clear this Raikou, use Titanial's effect to negate it, and then we can end the battle phase, chain a Deal with Dark Ruler. This is very cute and all, but is it really that good? Maybe. Just kidding. He has Compulse, so now I have both Berserk Dragons in my hand yet again, and things are looking awful. My hand is full of these bricks. He will Card Trooper, attack for 1900, set 2 back row and pass his turn. We draw another brick. We're going to normal summon this Beast King Barbaros, attack his Card Trooper. He gets the Rescue Cat to his hand, and then he's going to activate Pot of Avarice. We're going to use the Crow. He's going to chain the Imperial Iron Wall, and then we are going to chain this Solemn Judgment. I mean, this was kind of a favorable trade, but I have no follow-up. I've got a bunch of bricks, and he's just going to set a Raikou, set another back row, and pass. There's no way he loses this game. He's going to pop our monster, mill 3 more cards, and then we are going to set this Tomato and pass our turn. He's going to think for a little bit, pass his turn to us. We draw a Dandelion. We're going to set that. Then he's going to set a monster and pass his turn, and we draw Heavy Storm. We're going to activate that Heavy Storm, but he can get that value out of the Card Trooper. And you guys can see what's happening. I mean, I don't even know what to say. This is like, the games went on so unbelievably long. He Trap Dust Shoots me, but I'm just going to fast forward. It's really not worth it. I set a bunch of cards. He activates Avarice. And as you can tell, things are just wildly going out of my favor. He flips the Sangan, activates Torrential. We're able to get these dandy tokens. He searches a Grand Mole, but look at our hand. Look at his hand. Things are looking very bad for us. He attacks both of our tokens, and then he goes to the end phase. He's going to Mole Bounce our monster, attack for 35. Of course, we drew another Beast King, and this Gores will seal up match number 2. All right, this next match, we are up against the one and only Zalos, and I think this match will be slightly better than the last one, because how could anything be worse than what just happened with Carpath? So Zalos is just going to set a card and pass his turn. We draw a Berserk Dragon, but we have Gores, so we're just going to pass the turn back to him. He's just going to flip this Hamster. This will summon out a Raikou from the deck, and he will set that Raikou, and then he's going to normal summon a Dark Resonator. And that's awesome. I love that. He's just going to attack me for some damage. I'm going to summon out this Gores, and then in main phase 2, he's going to Synchro Summon Zeman, the Ape King, which is incredible. I didn't even know this card was legal. It's not very good, but it's very funny. And as someone who loves all the beast monsters, I really was very happy to see that card. And then we draw this Trade-In, which is obviously very good for us. We're going to activate Trade-In, discarding this Amaryllis, and we draw a Starlight Road and this Tragodia. I decide to wait to play into Mirror Force, I guess, but this was a horrible decision because he can just flip this Raikou. I don't know what I was thinking, but, you know, that's just Yu-Gi-Oh! Sometimes. He's going to pop my Gores, and then he's going to mill 3 cards. Then he's going to go into the battle phase and clear my token. That is fine with me, and, you know, that's just what happens sometimes. And after we take that damage, I can also drop this Tragodia, which is not too bad at all. Then he's just going to set one more monster, set a back row, and pass his turn. We're going to normal summon this Lone Fire Blossom, summon out another Lone Fire Blossom, and then we're going to summon out this Titanial. We're going to switch these monsters to attack. He's going to activate Mirror Force, and we can activate Starlight Road. So we summon out the Stardust Dragon. He will take 300 damage. Then we can attack into the Raikou, and then we can attack into the monster with this Tragodia. But unfortunately, it was a legendary Jujitsu Master, which had exactly 1800 defense. So that Tragodia goes back on top of the deck. We can set this back row, and then the Amaryllis will come back in the end phase. We are looking like we're in a pretty good spot, and then he's going to activate this Bottomless Trap Hole. There's an argument to chain the enemy controller. He's going to activate Brain Control, and I make a horrible misplay. I should have just activated Titanial, tributing this Amaryllis, but instead I burn the Solemn Judgment like a fool, and then yeah, so then he's just going to activate Dark Calling. He will summon out his Dark Gaia, which is pretty large, I think at 3,200, not too bad. He's going to go into the battle phase, attack into our Amaryllis, and then attack over our Titanial. Just kidding, we have the enemy controller to switch it to defense. We'll be in a pretty good spot if we draw a normal summonable monster, but just kidding, it is the Tragodia. We have to clear this monster. We set the econ, and in the end phase we can bring back the Amaryllis yet again. He draws for turn. He's going to switch this monster to defense, and we draw a Beast King Barbaros. We summon the Beast King Barbaros. We go into the battle phase. This will put it on top of the deck, and foolishly I should have just attacked with the Amaryllis. If I did, it would have been destroyed. It wouldn't have gone on top of the deck. I could have got in for 28, but instead I get in for 3,000, and he has Gores, and I do not have any plans to bring this back, and I have a Titanial on top of my deck, and so I am just dead. Not very good. Let's go on to game number 2, and there's that Berserk Dragon. You love to see it. We're going to set the tomato. He attacks into the tomato. It gets destroyed by the Doom Caliber Knight. And once I draw this skill drain, I'm feeling very silly about setting this Heavy Storm. Just did not play into the pro set heavy. That is fine, but we have to set it. He's going to flip up this hamster, and we will chain the skill drain, and we will take 1,000 damage. He tribute summons Caius for no effect, and then he will attack us for 2,400. We will take that damage, and then he is going to set a back row and pass the turn. We're just going to set a couple of cards and pass the turn right back. He's then going to go into the battle phase, and we will activate Call of the Haunted. This will bring back the tomato, and then he's going to think for a second, and then he decides not to attack. He's going to normal summon this Guardian and then pass his turn. We draw for turn, and it is another tomato, so we're just going to set that tomato, set this back row, and pass our turn. He will normal summon yet another legendary Jujutsu Master. He's then going to go into the battle phase, attack over our tomato. This will summon out a Sangan from the deck. He's then going to attack into this tomato, which will summon out a Plague Spreader Zombie. And then he's going to attack with the Rock card, but I have the Phoenix Wing Wind Blast, and this will be a very good turn for us next turn. In the end phase, we're just going to MST the back row, just so we don't need to deal with it. And we draw a Deal with Dark Ruler, which is very good. We can Synchro summon into a magical android. The Sangan effect will activate to add a Lone Fire from our deck to our hand. We can then normal summon the Lone Fire, call priority to get out a Titanial from the deck, and then we can get into some shenanigans. We go into the battle phase, attack over this legendary Jujutsu Master for some damage. We're then going to chain enemy controller, stealing their Caius, attack with both of these monsters, and then during the battle phase, you know we got to activate that Deal with Dark Ruler. I finally pulled off the enemy controller combo. It worked out for the best, but I would have been owned by Gores, but he didn't have it. Also, this would go back to him in the end phase, but it doesn't matter because we have won game number 2. Not too bad. Not too bad at all. Now let's go on to game number 3, and we are going second. Zalos is just going to set a monster and then set a back row and pass his turn, and then we draw for turn. We have a bunch of trap cards. He's going to steal our Mystic Tomato, and then we are going to just set all of our cards and pass the turn. We're going to activate Trap Dust Shoot. We will steal the Gigantes actually, because it's the only thing that can clear this skill drain, so we got to take it. And then he's going to flip up this hamster after normal summoning a legendary Jujutsu Master. We're going to activate the skill drain, paying 1,000 life points, and then it is just attacking with small monsters is his game plan, and unless I draw a monster, it might be a pretty good one. We draw an Amaryllis, so we pass the turn after setting this card, which is a bluff and does nothing. He's going to activate Heavy Storm, and that is just really not good for us. He summons the Grand Mole, attacks us with a bunch of small monsters, and we really need this top deck to be good. And a tomato is not very good because he can just bounce it with the Grand Mole. So, match against Zalos, I get absolutely destroyed. But I will say that I do think I got owned by the Jiu-Jitsu Master in Game 1. And I just think it's a sick deck. He's a very nice guy. And yeah, let's talk about how bad Berserk Dragon did. Oh my god.
So that happens. I think I need to reevaluate my love for Berserk Dragon, because I don't know if me loving him so much just makes him show up every single game, but yeah, that was awful. Honestly, I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little bit upset. I really wanted Berserk Dragon to do good. I mean, it felt so good at the tournament. I was so excited about it, and honestly, I'm feeling a little disheartened. I am genuinely kind of upset at my performance and at the deck's performance, so this episode has been a real eye-opener to me that I need to be hitting the dueling book ladder, not just for jank decks, but to actually try to get better at the game. I mean, I was playing very bad. I think I really need to work on my technical skills, and also that's the only way I'm going to be able to make jank work in the future, is by getting better. So thank you, Berserk Dragon, and maybe one day I'll top something with you. I don't know, I'm talking to you as if you're Berserk Dragon, but yeah, I will forever love this deck. I'm going to keep it in powerful cardboard even though I sucked with it and it did really bad today, but that's just the series. It's my series. Comment whatever you want. That is fine. Thank you guys so much for watching, and but it's really not that big of a deal. It's just for fun. I don't know. I guess I wish it did better. You know how it is. That is going to wrap it up for today's video, and I will see you all next week.